Tomorrow's the first trading day of 2024. I wanted to discuss two equities and a couple sectors I'm going to be focusing on. I'm going to do some more videos to focus solely on those sectors so we can get into it more. But let's go ahead and take a look at, I want to pull up PLTR here. First off, I'll pull up SPY. SPY looks really bad. And it looks like we're going to come down definitely to this volume shelf over here. We've got a gap. We've got two gap fills as well. Do I think it's going to fill it in January? I don't. Could it fill this gap in January? Possibly. I doubt it. I believe at some point this year we're at least going to fill this gap. And again, we have a gap right here all the way down to the 420s. And I think the first 2 quarters of 2024 may not be that good. I really don't see us hitting all-time highs. Sometimes I can tell where the market's going to go with very high probability. And the times where I'm uncertain, I'm not going to make a call on it. Could we surpass all-time highs? We could. Is it going to be a doomsday collapse? You know, unless something happens with China and Taiwan, that could disrupt a bunch of stuff. That is apparently going to happen this year, now that it's 2024, we'll see. So that's a black swan that's out there flapping its wings, ready to show up and cause problems. So that could be one of the disruptors that brings the market down. We'll see how that all pans out. So I'm focusing on other sectors that don't have anything to do with the market. There's 3 other sectors. Those of you that trade live with me on Voice in the Discord and that are in the Discord, you know which sectors I'm talking about. And those are going to be a separate video. They're a lot safer than sitting around wondering where AMD and NVIDIA and Tesla are going to go. When we have a pending war, there's a pending war with Taiwan and China. Every time historically we've cut rates, when we're not at a bottom, we fall. So, I mean, you all tell me, where do you think the market's going to go if every time we've cut rates when we've been high, we've fallen? And on top of this technical analysis, on top of 2023 being a lot of the run-up was stock buybacks and AI. Remember how EVs soared? And then all of a sudden the hype washed out of them? I really think Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, AMD, they are going to boom in the 2020s, all the way into 2030. I think they're going to be crazy. So I want to take a look at some equities, when and if, and I'm almost positive, you can never be 100% sure, I'm pretty sure we're going to see some pretty significant downside because, I mean, we were just at 409 in October. We just left December. You know, 2 months ago, we were at 409 on SPY. It's basically 2 months ago, and we shot up nearly freaking $80. Well, $70. Good God. I mean, come on, guys. It's not going to rocket up like that. The news is over. We already found out that they're going to cut interest rates. It priced it in. It ran up. We always pretty much run up in November and December, other than 2018, due to quantitative tightening that was just introduced that they backtracked on. So all this hype is over and it's slowing down here. Look at the technical analysis and everything over here. Look at the dollar. Dollar's about to shoot back up. Bonds is about to come down. Gold's about to come down a little bit. May just be for a short while, maybe a month or so, maybe 2 months. And it may be my last chance to build positions in those 2 sectors. On top, look at the bearish divergence we have over here on SPY. But when and if we drop in 2024, what am I looking at? Microsoft looks great on the whole AI front. They're looking great. I don't know what all this is over here. Let's go ahead and remove this. Yeah, we got a big gap fill over here to 280. I don't know if that's going to get filled, but watch out. So anyways, when and if Microsoft comes down, I don't know if anybody played the cup and handle. A nice breakout over here. Look at this. Now the candlestick's looking at them right here. It looks totally fine. Looks healthy. Looks like it wants to keep going. Now, if we start to peel over, we've got a nice volume shelf down here around in the 340s. That would be a great place for me to either add Microsoft or the leveraged Microsoft fund that's out there. So I'd like to have a position of Microsoft. Don't quote me on this. They own 49%-ish of OpenAI. That's a big deal. If OpenAI decides to go the profit route and then IPO, I mean, Microsoft's just going to take off with a lot of ownership, owning half of OpenAI. And then on top of that, they're one of the leaders in the AI front, one of them. So I'm not looking for some new AI company that's not making any money and is in a bunch of debt so they can expand and test and all that. Microsoft already has money and they already have AI, so I'd rather invest in them. That's what a new trader would do. They try to be like Michael Burry, bet on a stock to go bankrupt, or, oh, I know about the stock and it hasn't gone yet. And I don't do that stuff unless it's just obvious, unless the conditions are just screaming. But usually that's not going to work. New companies are usually horrible to invest in for the most part. It can be a great idea and concept, but how's their management team? I can't see their history. Can they pull the company through bad times? So anyways, this is one of my, unless Nvidia drops very hard, that would be one of my picks. Because 2023 was a preview on what can really run. If Nvidia drops, gets cut in half or something like that, I highly doubt that's going to happen. That's going to be one of them. But I'm focusing on Microsoft to pull back here. And another one is Palantir. I want to have a position in Palantir. Basically, if you look at their balance sheets and everything that's going on with them, they have negative debt. Now they have debt, but more is owed to them than they owe. So it's basically like negative debt. That is a big deal. They've got a contract with the government. I mean, this is the military or the government, same thing. This is one I'm looking at here. It almost looks like it's creating a Batman, but I think that this thing may turn around and come back all the way up into here. Right? My forecast for towards the end of the year of 2024, again, I think the first half is going to be a coin toss, heads or tails. And I'm leaning to the downside. But I expect Palantir to at least be at 24, 25 bucks. I'd love to see it in the high 20s, between 24 and 27. So that could be a great ad for me. If we could come down a little bit more, what would be a dream is if it could come all the way back down to 8. I highly doubt that's going to happen. They have a lot going for them right now. Let's just take a look at it on a monthly here. Look at that little inverted hammer there. Would have been a fantastic place to add, but we'll go back over to a weekly here. Let's see what's going on a quarterly. But anyways, Microsoft and Palantir. So Microsoft, I would look at Microsoft Go. They are just a monster. This thing is an absolute beast. Can you imagine, this is a little bit off topic, if you had added in the .com and you never saw your money again until 2016? 16 years of just holding it. Obviously, you could have been buying the dips, but if you don't know if it's going to go, it's just like, what am I doing here? This is 20 years out of my life waiting for this thing to go. I don't think that can happen again because it's much more of a mature company and they have a lot more money and a better footing than they used to have around the .com. So Microsoft and Palantir are going to be some of the equities I'm going to be looking at. Obviously, the no-brainers. If Apple announces they're coming out with an iCar, so the main two I'm looking to pull back is Microsoft and Palantir. If something horrible happens in the market, I'm going right for NVIDIA equity or NVDL, the leverage NVIDIA fund. That's a no-brainer. I mean, it's NVIDIA. If you guys look at their earnings growth over like 20 years, it's just unbelievable and everything they have going on. AMD, if AMD gets hit really hard, they're not who AMD was in 2018. They're a completely different beast now. If Apple announces their iCar, it's going to have a nice pop for a couple weeks or so, and hopefully if she dies off or the market goes very bearish, I mean, what do you think is going to happen to Apple if they release an iCar? It's pretty bad for Tesla too. They're going to be a big competitor. They hired a bunch of Hyundai engineers, EV engineers. Ex-Hyundai EV engineers. Apple, just their AirPods, if you look it up, they make more money than Netflix. Just off their AirPods. Their AirPods make up 10% of the company, off of what they bring in, 10%. Apple has, what is it, over $250 billion in treasuries? They have more money than the country of Egypt. That's why it's not very volatile. When the whole market collapses, it's not like Apple was in the .com. They're a whole new company now. It is astounding to see, or it's just shocking to see when you look at their balance sheet and everything that's going on with them, how amazing of a company they are. And they have a foothold everywhere. I'm never going to buy an iPhone. You get more bang for your buck with this is arguable with an Android, but I'll definitely invest in them. And again, they said they're coming out with an iCar. It was supposed to happen in 2025. Now they're pushing it out to 2026. I'm keeping that on my radar. I'm going to be listening. When they say, hey, we're going to probably be releasing this around first half of 2026, I want to be in. See, Apple's something, if I buy it, if she comes down, you all remember those, by the way, off topic in the Discord, when we had these Apple calls right here off the EMA with, oh my gosh, in this run up, it's been great. So, getting back on topic, they announced they're coming out with that iCar, and we have a pullback at all. Apple doesn't pull back too much. I'm going to be pulling the trigger. So if we go very bearish, it's very simple. I can just pull up a chart and wait. Look at that right there. Look at this right here, a reversal candle on the weekly on Apple in 2022 when it was 131, shot up to 175, reversal candle, inverted hammer over here followed by another reversal candle. If I added here, it didn't matter because look where it's at now, 192. Look at this. I was in Apple down here. That is a perfect hammer right there, that candlestick, where it looks like a hammer, a sledgehammer. You could pick up and just nail something into a log. That was right at the bottom, 131-ish. You know, she saw in the around 125. Would have been a fantastic ad. Be up a lot. So if something like that could happen again, that would be great. I can also scale in. You know, if I try to figure out where to put a lump sum of my money, I'm going to sit here until I miss the boat. It's too hard to do it like that. I like to add one share of things in a template. Well, hey, I like to pick up IIPR. If you look at their PE, IIPR, if you look at their PE on top of their dividend is fantastic. Their PE is great. They seem like a fantastic company. If you look at it over here, we have a little shooting star. Let's go ahead and elongate this. See if we can, shooting star rejection right off. I think that's the 200 EMA. I forget which these are. They may be 5100 or 100, 200. Regardless, it rejected off an EMA and has a shooting star. I expect it to come down anywhere in the 80s, the high 80s. I'd like to build a template to remind me, hey, this is something that I want to be in for the long term here. Let's go ahead and unelongate these charts. But IIPR is another one if we pull back quite a bit. So you all have to take into consideration the market lags with interest rates. We still haven't felt the full effect of the rate hikes. It's just now hitting us and hitting the market, the economy, and everything. It's just hitting us, the final hikes. And the market doesn't just react because it went up. It also reacts to, it affects the economy and the market. The economy, we can say, which then affects the market, for how long they're left high. Okay? Struggling businesses, eventually they're drowning. They're trying to keep up with air, with weights attached to their feet, and they just end up sinking. And a lot of that needs to happen. There's a lot of companies that don't need to exist. I just feel bad for the mom and pops that are being eaten up by Amazon and some of the other Shopify, things like that. But that's another topic in a video. But again, some of those companies don't need to exist. They're just surviving because there's cheap debt out there. So there's obvious no-brainers that aren't going to be volatile. And I'm going to do another video on that soon. So, and if you all want more information or want to ask me for a video, make sure in the description below you can join the Discord. So IIPR is one of them. But here's to sum it up. If there is a big, massive drop in the market that's continual for a while, if NVIDIA or AMD gets hit hard, those are no-brainers. I'm looking at Microsoft to pull back. I hope it will. Microsoft and Apple, they're trading like that, like Procter & Gamble or something like that. Or like Kroger. They don't pull back too much compared to some of the other stocks like Amazon. They're just fantastic. Keep your eyes peeled on Google as well, because they're coming up on the whole AI front as well. So again, Microsoft, Palantir, IIPR. If we have a big market collapse, I'd love to be in NVIDIA as well as AMD. NVIDIA is just so high. Should have built a position with that hammer right on the right shoulder right there. Perfect TA for entry. Right when it was 153 and we're pretty much at 500. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.